Hi there, Ed here. Just going to quickly go through the 3D logo wall sign with the standard colours, just to explain a bit about the product, how it works, and how we can process an order for one online. So ultimately what we've got here is a 3D logo where we are taking a standard coloured piece of material. We then laser cut it to shape around each of the letters of your logo, and then we are putting fixings onto the back of that lettering in order for you to fix it onto the wall. We then provide a template for you to be able to fix that onto the wall so that you correctly space out all of those letters nice and easily. And then finally, you sit back and relax and enjoy the way the sign looks. Now, the main thing that this product is doing is we are looking at the standard colours. So let me differentiate a little bit. The standard colours are where we've got a bunch of colours here where we are buying a sheet of material in a certain colour and we're laser cutting from that. More about that a bit later, but ultimately if you don't find the colours that are matching your logo here, you might want to come to our website and look for the printed acrylic logo, where you will be able to find a multitude of colours because we actually print this in your brand colours. And so if you would prefer, have a look at this particular product, which is a custom colour, whereas this one is a standard colour. It's a bit more cost effective because we just buy in the material in the colour and then just laser cut it to shape. So the material is bought in, it's then laser cut, so you get really high levels of detail in the product, which means that things like the inside of this K, where you've got a point on the inside, it's really nice and sharp, and we can get really quite detailed in terms of the design. The design is also movable, so we'll talk more about that in terms of fixings, but you can move the signs later. And then lastly, the products are in these really nice, bright and vibrant colours, so they look really, really good when they kind of sit on the wall against a white wall or a coloured wall, doesn't matter, they still look great. So let's start through kind of how do we go about processing an order for this. Once we've worked out that this is the right product for us, if you can match the colours in these to your brand colours, then great, we're onto a winner. We can go ahead and start building the product and trying to place an order. So first of all, we are looking at the width of the design. So the way that we're doing this is that we're taking, let's use this Kairos Media logo as an example. We're taking the full and total width of the whole sign all together, whether it's got an icon, text, everything. We're taking the full width of the logo, and we are then scaling that in proportion to be able to work out what the height would be. Now, we are pricing on the website here based on the average logo being no more than half the height that is of the width. So in this example, this Kairos Media would be around 1.5 meters wide, and it's going to be around 50 centimeters high, which is perfect. What this is not is a circle or a square where you've basically used double the amount of material, because it's going to be 1.5 meters wide and 1.5 meters high. If you have a logo like that, do get in touch with us and we can definitely quote you for it, but it costs a lot more than doing a logo like this one, where you've got the logo where it's essentially the standard kind of logo where you've got a kind of a long and thin logo is probably the best way to describe it. So we've got the acrylic. What we're going to do then is select the width that we need. And if, for example, you don't know what the height is going to be, don't worry. What happens is once you've placed the order, my design team would then get in touch with you to send you a proof. This is a PDF document that we send every customer once they place an order with us, and it gives you this peace of mind to say, I'm happy that the size that I've ordered is correct, and we check all the files and everything as well. So we are selecting the total width of the logo. Now, with 3D logos, we generally try and recommend that you go as big as you can, because I'll explain in a little bit about the fixings and the thicknesses, but ultimately try and go as big as you can. What we tend to say is if you've got a wall that is very large, then obviously it doesn't really matter how big you go, you can go pretty big. Normally what then happens is that the height is the limiting factor, and so hopefully you can work out the proportions of the logo to work out the right size to go for. If you are completely stuck and you have no idea what to do, get in touch with us and we'll do you a free mock-up, which I'll show you in a minute, and you can kind of get an idea of the right size to go for. But let's say, for example, we're going to go with 100 centimeters wide. We've got the ex-VAT price and the including VAT price there just for you to see. Now we talk about depth. So 3mm is the smallest thickness that we offer. The material is a little bit flimsy and it's not that 3D, but it's ultimately a more cost-effective option to go for. Then we've got 5mm. So 5mm is a product that is the highest, the most recommended, really, because, and I think I might actually after this type in recommended after this, because it's ultimately the product that is the thickest for the average logo, and it's ultimately nice and strong and sturdy. The 10mm is only available in black and white, and so please be aware that if you order a logo in 10mm and then select yellow, we'll get in touch with you and say you can't have that. So we would highly recommend the 5mm. It works for most clients in most instances. Now, let's talk about fixings. We've got two types of fixings, double-sided tape or standoff fixings. So the double-sided tape, as you can see from the picture, we take double-sided tape and we stick it to the back of the letters. This is really straightforward for installation, really, really simple. And then when it comes to actually installing the logo, we provide you with a cardboard template, which is really easy. You just masking tape that up onto the wall and place the letters into the template. It's a kid's game. It's really, really simple to do. So definitely the easier of the two options in terms of fixings, but the logo obviously sits flush to the wall and doesn't look as 3D as the standoff fixings. So the standoff fixings is where we would provide you with a whole bunch of little fixings that get fixed onto the back of each letter. They then stand off the wall by a couple of centimeters, and you screw them into the wall in order to work out how to fit that. And just to let you know, the way that that works is that we would provide you with a template that looks something like this paper template that you can see here. On that paper template, you would see little black dots that have been marked. They correspond to the fixings that are on the back of each of the letters. And so when you place the letter on top of it, they will align perfectly with the dots that we've marked on that template. What that means is that you can then go through and drill through each of these fixings and then mount the sign onto the wall nice and simply. If you'd like a little bit more information on that, watch this video. It gives you a whole step-by-step process on how to fit the signs with the standoff fixings. Out of the two, we'd say that standoff fixings is probably the more popular option because it does make the logos look that little bit more 3D. If you were to go for 3mm and you go double-sided tape, the logo isn't that 3D, it doesn't stand off the wall that much, and so we generally recommend double-sided tape for logos where the text is too small for standoff fixings, and I'll come on to that in a moment as well. So the acrylic colours here are obviously visualised here, but if you'd like to be able to see the colours more prominently, you can click on this link and it will open up this Google Drive folder where you can see all of the items and you can see all the different colours more prominently, and you can get a much better idea of what those colours look like. So that should be a helpful way for you to spot whether the colours work for your brand. Last thing to mention on the acrylics is that we do offer a matte black and we do offer a matte white as well. The matte black and matte white are only available in 5mm. So please don't select 3mm as your colour and then select black 5mm, because we'll have to get in touch with you and say which one do you want to choose. Do you want to upgrade to 5mm or go with gloss? So if you go with the 3mm, please choose gloss. The same is the case for the 10mm. If you click 10mm, you can't go for the matte black or matte gloss. If you get in touch with us, we might be able to do something for you where we apply a black vinyl on top, and that obviously makes it a matte in 10mm, but that's a custom quote that you'd need to get in touch with us about. Finally, file uploads. You can click the file here and upload a file on the website, or you can do it after checkout. Either one is fine. Ultimately, either way, my design team will get in touch with you and sort it out. So we've got our 100 centimeters wide. We've gone with 5mm. We're going to go standoff fixings, and our logo, let's say our Kairos Media is our logo. So we're going to go with black gloss. We'll upload our logo and click add to cart, and this is the price that you would pay. The price includes free shipping. So you've got all that info there. There is a box down here that shows you the estimated proof and production time. So normally within 12 hours, we would send you a visual by our design team to say, this is what your logo looks like. Please confirm you're happy. And we'd update the proof and then get it into production. It's normally about 3 to 4 working days to actually produce the sign, and then next day delivery. But obviously subject to couriers, it's why we give a little bit of leeway there, because we can't always guarantee with couriers, depending on the time of year as well. At Christmas, it gets a bit crazy. Just hopping back quickly to the file upload, ideally you'd have an AI, SVG or PDF. Our upload system doesn't accept EPS files, but the one after checkout does. So if you've got an EPS file, just leave this blank and upload it after checkout, or email us after you've placed the order. But the other alternative is that you can upload a file that is a JPEG or a PNG file, and my design team will redraw the logo for free. As long as the quality of the image is easy for us to be able to use the tools that we use to redraw it, then it should be okay. If you place an order and we're not happy with the file, we'll always get in touch with you, so don't worry too much. So that is ultimately the product. I just want to kind of show a couple of other elements. One is to keep coming through this the pictures to kind of give you an idea of size. We try and give you this picture to help you kind of understand what sort of size to go for on your logo. If you've got a wall like this where you've got slats or other stuff and you're going for the standoff fixings, you can always email us after you've placed the order and send us some information on this, and we'll be able to put the fixings in exactly the right location and send out a template that avoids those fixings from dropping into the gaps. So that's another little tip there. The colours are also available here for you to kind of have a little look at. Again, some more pictures of the fixings with double-sided tape and standoff fixings. I forgot to mention that these signs are available for both internal and external use. So you can put these on outside your shop, you can put them outside your business, or you can put them inside on the office wall. Either one is fine. The material is very strong, very sturdy, and will last for years and years and years, and won't fade. Some more pictures here. We can fit the logos onto bricks. That's also fine. And you've got some more detailed photographs there. We've got a whole bunch of other photographs of projects that we've done before. So if you've got a specific job that you need us to kind of show you some examples on curved walls and on desks and on reception desks, internal, external, etc., just let us know and we'd be able to provide a bit more info if you need it. So that is essentially the product. Let's just quickly dive into my design program and just talk about the different types of logo to make sure that you're going for the right thing. So the standard coloured acrylics, when you've got a logo, that your logo is fairly simple. It's got an icon and some text maybe. It's fairly straightforward in terms of the colour, and ultimately it's not got things like a gradient or really complex shapes and designs in. So these logos are examples of good products that we could use for the standoff, for the standard coloured acrylic. Going over here to this page, you can see these are the kinds of logos that we would need to use the printed acrylic that we discussed earlier, where, for example, you've got a colour that we don't do. So it's a dark blue, or it's a kind of mint colour. Or we've got designs that have multiple shapes or shading. We've got gradients. We've got designs that are much more complex, multiple colours that obviously need to span a wheel of colour. Designs that have got high level of detail where we would cut this icon out as probably just one shape. Again, more gradients. Designs that even if most of the logo is standard color, but then one shape needs to be printed. Sometimes we'll do just the printed shape printed and the rest can be standard color. Sometimes we'll do it the full logo printed. You may need to get in touch if you want to discuss something like that. Or designs where you've got overlapping colors, or where you've got an image that is really complex. Those are the kinds of projects where we would need to do the printed acrylic, and so it kind of gives you a bit more info there. Couple of other things to mention. If you've got a very large shape in your logo, like a long shape, or you've got big circles or squares, it's probably best for you to get in touch with us, because ultimately these kinds of logos cost a lot more to do. We can either send them out in one piece and then obviously shipping costs increase and what have you, or we may need to split them down, because they can get broken if we try and post them out as one piece, or they just become very expensive and prohibitive. So these are kind of examples of where we've got either large shapes in a logo or complex designs where you've got bits and bobs like this. So if your logo has this kind of element in it, do get in touch with us. Just send us an email and sizes, info, logo file, and we'll be able to try and do our best to let you know how much it would cost. If you place an order with a logo like this, just be aware we may get in touch and ask you to pay a bit more in order to post the logo out to you. And then the last one is logos that have really thin lines in it. So this is where the logo has a high level of detail and is both very, very thin. That means that it's possible we may not be able to produce your logo very easily. So again, best for you to get in touch and we can kind of show you what we can do with your logo. So in these instances, we've got logos that have got very small lettering. It seems to be a lot of businesses that are aesthetics-based businesses. They tend to have lots of very thin lettering, thin lines like these. Ultimately, we end up having to thicken them up a little bit. So I'm going to come over here to an example logo, which I've just got set up. So this particular client's got a 2-meter wall. They're just going to go for a 60-centimeter logo. We'd normally recommend you go for a logo more like this sort of size, about 150 wide if you had a 2-meter logo. But just let's give an example of this just for this kind of purpose. So with this particular logo, we've got nice thick lettering, nice individual shapes, no problem. And then this red dot is my drawing. Then we've got some small lettering at the bottom. So this circle here represents 5 millimeters in a circle, and this is the minimum size that we can cut a 3D logo in. So you can see here that the logo doesn't meet our minimum cutting standard for this particular size logo. So there are two options that we can do. Option number one is that we can increase the logo to, say, 80 centimeters. Well, we would know. Let's increase this to 80 centimeters wide and have a little look at whether that lettering now meets those. So it'd probably go up a little bit more to 90. Let's go up to 100 just to stop messing around too much. So that logo now means that we'd be able to cut out these lettering, and so the logo could go up to 100 centimeters. That's one option of how we could solve this problem of letters being too small. The other option is that we can thicken the letters. So this is where my design team would take the original letter, you can see as the inside line here, and then we would basically make the logo fatter and thicker. And so in this instance, we've got a logo that we've fattened to make it that bit thicker, which allows us to be able to cut the logo out. Ultimately, we recommend this option first because it's always better for us to not change the logo if we possibly can. Ideally, you just go bigger on the logo, and that's my comment earlier about trying to go as big as you can with the logo, because then it avoids us having to do these kinds of changes. But if you are genuinely limited by the size, and 60 centimeters is really the biggest that you can go, then this really is our only option to consider. And so just to let you know that my design team would get in touch, let you know about all of this. They'll send you a visual to show you what that's going to look like. But ultimately, that's the kind of the process there. The final thing to say on this is that that's the minimum size for cutting in acrylic, but the minimum size for doing our standoff fixings is 10 mil. Oh. So 10 millimeters is this minimum standard for the standoff fixings. And so if you wanted this logo with standoff fixings, we'd be able to do at 60 centimeters, we'd be able to do the logo, the big fat lettering with the standoff fixings, but obviously it's not going to be possible to do the small lettering. And so if we keep it at 60 centimeters, we would then do the big lettering in standoffs, and then we'd probably do the better people decisions with the double-sided tape. So that's where we would mix the fixings. And again, we'll get in touch and let you know if that's something that we can do. Again, the same situation applies that if you want standoff fixings and you order a logo with letters that are too small, we have two options: increase the overall size of the logo or thicken up the lettering. We can discuss that with you once you place your order, or if you get in touch beforehand, we can discuss that and show you what it's going to look like. So I hope that that helps. If you would like a mock-up like this done, you can always send us an email with your logo, ideally the wall size that you've got, ideally the logo in a vector format, which is that AI or EPI EPS file, and then any other information that helps us understand what it is you're after. The size of the logo that you're looking for would obviously help as well. And then we can do a mock-up like this, send it to you to show you what it's going to look like. And you can then obviously confirm you're happy. We can then send you a custom quote, or you can place the order online, either way. So I hope that that helps. If you've got any other questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Let me just check that I've got everything else here. I guess the only other thing to mention is scroll down, have a little look at some of the product reviews that we've got. We've also got various videos of customers reviewing the products that should help you understand kind of what they got for themselves. There's an FAQ section at the bottom, which gives you even more detail about the product should you need it. And yeah, ultimately, that's a bit about us, really. So I hope that that's been helpful. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. My name's Ed. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.